Let me see if we can go live. I think people can hear me. Say something quick.
Can people hear me?
I think they
I hope
certainly
people
can.
can hear me.
Incredible. Hey,
Okay.
Ryan. Are you
Yeah.
ready? Are you ready? You ready to do a show? Do you want to do a little? Do you want to do a little show? Just the two of us, duo show.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Alan's gone. We
Yeah.
just do that on him.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, good. Because I think it's what we set up for anyway. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome you to watch this podcast. I'm Devon.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon. I do that every time, but it always feels like incomplete. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
each week on this show, we like to make each other watch movies that the other one hasn't seen before. This week, we're specifically going to be talking about Green Knight 2021 movie. But before we get to that, I wanted to take a minute to talk about some of the things we've seen in pop culture recently, just to catch us up on where we're at with things. And Ryan, I know you watched something, but I watched two things, so I'm going to go first and last to sandwich it all, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question, Ryan. What were you doing with your night tonight?
With my night tonight?
What were you doing with your night tonight? Your earlier part of the day today. What were you doing?
After Kristen and I went to our local polling place, we came back,
Mm-hmm.
and both of us had busy days. So, we watched 2 episodes of Bob's Burgers.
Oh, that makes
the
me so
Christmas
happy.
episode and the Drum Machine episode from season 10.
Yes. Oh, solid episodes.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I was doing with my night? I got off of work and I did this. I watched the John Cena superhero thing called Peacemaker and cried.
Yeah.
Ryan, it's so good. It's so good.
I am really happy that, and it's gonna suck for Alan not being here to hear this. But I am really happy that there is something out there that is like in your vein and is in like Alan's vein, and like you guys connect with it so well, and the people behind it's the right art style for you guys. I'm happy that you have that. I really am. Because there are shows and movies that I have that with.
Yeah.
The only thing is that, unfortunately, the circle diagram of, like, you guys, the show Peacemaker, and me do not overlap.
They just
I'm
don't.
sorry.
And you know what?
I'm happy that, but I'm really happy that you guys have this show and you connect with it so much. And that's good for me.
Right. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. The only, like, I was watching it, and I was like, I love this show, and I'm like tearing up a little bit, and then I like went to go walk my dog and went, I just watched a DC superhero show starring John Cena, and teared up a little bit. I think there might be something wrong with me as a person. So I get it. I get why it doesn't appeal to you, and that's okay, and I get why it might not appeal to other people. But you know what?
Yeah.
Damn it, if this didn't just connect, like, I watched Superman. I watched the new Superman.
Yeah.
Would I watch another Superman in the universe? Sure. Would I watch like anything else in the DC universe? Maybe. Would I watch anything with Peacemaker in it? Hell yeah. So like now I have my connection into the DC, the new DC EU, whatever it's gonna be. Anything that includes this guy, I'm watching. Anything that doesn't, I don't know that I care enough about. But like I don't know if I want another Batman. But if it's Batman and Peacemaker, boy howdy, sign me up, man.
Yeah. I get that. I really do. And you mean like John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Like you never expected. Okay, so have you ever seen the Trainwreck?
No, never.
Okay. It is not a movie that I will ever have us watch on
Okay.
the show, just so you're aware. But it's Amy Schumer, Bill Hader, John Cena is in it, and I think it was one of his first like mainstream kind of like acting roles that he was in. He's not in the movie that much. Like he's Amy Schumer's like boyfriend that she has prior to like the plot of the movie like rolling along or whatever. It's a comedy. if you go back and watch the scenes that he's in, like it's supposed to be comedic, like he's supposed to be this kind of like ultra bro like guy
Sure.
in it, but he's not bad because he's not playing himself. You know that.
Right,
Like he's
right.
not playing himself. Like he's this like ultra bro guy that's also like in touch with his emotions just as intensely as he is like the bro dude. And it just comes off like whoa, like real, like real extreme. Like he's, but like he's good in the role. And like so I'm not surprised that he's actually turning into like an actual legitimate actor.
Hmm.
And even though I follow pro wrestling like the tiniest bit, um there is a reason why pro wrestling stars are pro wrestling stars, and it's because they're good actors.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I'm not surprised at that. I am a little surprised that you're like, I don't care about DC unless John is in it.
That's it. That's really it, though. That's my in. I also like the silly social commentary of I'm Peacemaker. I care about peace, no matter whatever man, woman, or child I have to kill to get it. Like I think that's funny commentary, and in this season they take that to its logical extreme.
Well, because like that is, it's funny and it's good commentary because stuff like that, like it's like, whoopsie. I pulled the cord out of my headphones. I can't hear anything now.
Oh no. The curse of the gesticulative talker. I have the exact same thing.
There we go. Yeah. So like you had the like air command during the Cold War.
Yeah.
When we watched Doctor Strangelove, they
Right.
had the thing, "Peace is our mission," and it's like, this is the strategic nuclear bombing wing of like the U.S. military, and their slogan is, it's like "Peace is our mission" or something like that, and it's like it's the most ridiculous thing in context. And yeah, so I like that aspect of Peacemaker. I like the fact that like that's the like core of like what they're doing on the show,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very odd statement to have, and it's very easy to pick apart.
Yeah. And that's what I like, and they do that
Yeah.
really well. So yeah, I'm now. There's no more seasons of Peacemaker. They're all done. He might be in a DC thing, but Ryan, this is a red letter day for you. Your two co-hosts are now done talking about Peacemaker. Moving on. Did you watch something,
Okay.
Ryan? In fact, I know you did. You prepped this. I
Yes.
prepped this.
Yeah. So, I watched together I forget his name now, that main actor.
Is it James Franco?
It is, I think if he's the brother, uh,
Dave Franco. Sorry.
Dave Franco, yeah. Yeah, I knew it was a Franco, but it's the brother. Yeah, so it's him and his wife, or his fiance, girlfriend. I don't know what their status is as a
Oh.
relationship, but it's them. They are together. Yeah, Dave Franco. Yeah, okay, so the film stars real-life married actors Dave Franco and Allison Brie. I think I got her last name right.
Yeah.
As a couple who moves to the countryside, whatever. It is the most twisted, heartwarming, physical horror movie I have ever seen.
What?
I don't know how else to make that statement.
That's
Like,
incredible.
It is twisted, but it's honestly a good romantic drama. Like if you pull the horror aspect out of it, it's a good romantic drama, and it's one that I think you would even appreciate the like romantic drama side of it, because it deals with a couple dealing with a real life couple's issue that every couple that's in a long-term relationship at some point deals with.
Is it one of them farts in bed at night and the other one thinks it's gross?
Of course. I mean, that would definitely be it.
That has to be it. I can't. What? There's just no other issue.
Yeah, especially with Dave Franco, especially, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's gotta be bathroom humor. But anyway, like, it's a legit it is a legit romantic drama, but it's got the horror aspect in it, and that's like half the storyline.
I'm so excited to see this. I hope you make us watch it.
I am. This is definitely on the, like... This is definitely on the list within the next few months.
Good. That makes me incredibly happy.
Because it's... Yeah, because I want to wait till it's, like... I don't know. Like, I don't know how accessible it is at the moment for everyone involved. So that's why I'm just going to wait. But it's good. Like, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I can't wait because... All I've seen of it, and it was smart advertising. It was enough to get me to want to watch it. Was the trailer where their eyeballs start fusing together?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But also, good job. Now I want to watch it. Okay, which one was more disgusting or more cringe-inducing in terms of body horror? This one or The Substance? For you?
Honestly, this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, because it has to do with, like... Yeah, I'm just... Yeah.
Okay.
This was more, like, yeah. Like, this more cringy, like, actually making me cringe a little bit when I'm watching it and hearing it, compared to The Substance. And it has to do with how, like... I was into this movie. I was following the plot. I cared about it. So...
It did a better job of setting a stake that you cared about, or stakes that you cared about and were invested in, so when the horror happened, you were more bought into the horror then.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And it does the thing that I like horror to do, is it's trying to tell a broader story than just the ghost said boo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is... And there's layers to the story, too. Like, it's not incredibly deep. Like, there's not, like, 15 hidden metaphors throughout the whole movie. It's just, they focus on, like, one or two meanings.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of go, like, okay, we're going to cover the bases.
Yeah.
And they don't try to make more out of it than what it is.
It's very cool. Yep, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can't wait for you to make us watch that. Speaking of things that I watch all the time and will not shut up about, guess who's watching more Love is Blind? I don't have much to say about it. It's the same shit it always is. I just have one very specific complaint that I've been noticing happens more and more in these seasons, to the point where it almost makes me like... The show, it's a reality show. It gives you characters. They're people, but they're just characters. Especially in the edits, they just reduce them to the shallow facsimile of who they are as people. However, the one thing that's starting to really kill me is the men's reaction when they get engaged. This has now happened for like 3 seasons across 3 different languages. Ryan, cast your mind back to when you proposed. You were... Presumably, I don't know much about this story. Presumably, you were on one knee, super nervous, flop sweat covering your face. You ask the question. She says yes. What was your reaction to that?
I can't tell you because that's how it happened.
Well, I know my reaction was to go, great, and kind of very nervously pull Romana off to the side, and we took a minute to decompress because it was really intense and really quick. What I've been noticing that's been happening in every season of Love is Blind now is after the lady or if the woman says yes, there's at least 2 minutes of the guy going, "Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, let's go!" I'm so sick of it. Don't say let's go. if I'm a woman and you're proposing to me and I say yes and you shout the words "let's go" in my face, I'm unproposing. Done. Marriage over. That is deal broken, you jerk. And all of these men, like, none of them are that bad. Some of them are awful. Some of them are, like, very sweet individuals. I don't know what it is inside 20 years, and this is just Devon sounding like a grump. This is old man yelling at clouds. I don't know what it is naturally inside of a 20-year-old man when a major life event happens and he yells, "Let's go!" But, like, I'm so over it. And, like, the more I'm talking about this, the more the gray in my beard is standing out. The wrinkles around my eyes are becoming more pronounced. I'm becoming more curmudgeonly. I get it. But, like, guys, like, you've seen some of the people on Love is Blind this season admit to having watched past seasons of Love is Blind. At this point, we, as an audience, know that you're going to shout, "Let's go." Do something different. Just another thing. It could even be shouted with the same intensity as "let's go." It could even be something like "let's wed." I don't care. Just give me another line. Anything else.
Yeah.
Rant over. That's all I wanted. I was at work, like, working today, doing my real life job. I'm like, fucking let's go. Like, it's been on my mind all day. I needed to get it out. There it was. Thank you for listening. TED Talk over.
Okay. So, I have opinions on the whole thing, and I don't know how to start. I'm just going to start with the verbal diarrhea and go from there.
Good.
So, one, it's reality TV.
Yeah.
So everything's going to be played up to the ridiculousness. So that is the rational side. Like, that's my, if I was watching something and I saw that, I'm like, this is just what they want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just kind of ignore it, even if it annoys me, as long as that's not, just as long as that's not the, 20th thing that's annoyed me and has made me go, okay, I'm done, and then turn off the show. I would just ignore it and then just, carry on with it. But if we're going to get into, proper ways to react after having the person say yes that you're asking them to marry you, I could see it if, both people involved are, very athletic team sports people, and, that's just how they are. The people that don't know how to react, in any other, the only way they know how to react in any social interaction is how they act around, teammates to, pump people up. You have the guy in the office who needs to do, a team meeting, but he's, a coach on his, the weekends, and the only way he knows how to talk to people is, if everyone's on a sport team.
Yeah.
So then you get the weird, coach speech on a Thursday afternoon board meeting.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that is where that comes from, because I'm going to assume most of these guys have at least been athletic to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, a lot of them are athletic to a lot of the extent. Some of them will even, be on what is, I guess, ostensibly their honeymoon or, their, vacation with the person they just got engaged to. And, they're supposed to, take a cute cell phone video of you and your partner waking up. And, every season, there's at least, 2 couples that are I just woke up and he's out on the porch doing sit-ups. And it's, clearly 5 in the morning, the sun just rose, and, bro's out, get it, fuck here, girl, on the, so, yes, a lot of them are that, yeah.
Yeah, so, I think there's a little CTE involved, too. And that's okay.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
So, yeah,
And to be fair, if I was in that situation, I just proposed, and I was like, oh my god, you make me the happiest man in the world. And some producer was like, you're at a 5, give me a 10. And,
Yeah.
like, that was my 5. I guess my 10 is, let's go! Like, I guess that is just what I think a 10 is in that situation.
Yeah, and again, like I know that reality TV is like kind of like your like niche go to, just for kind of like turn your brain off TV to like relax. And for like, entertainment. And but like that's what reality TV to me is.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like I'm not surprised that they would walk around and shout like, like was like I watch sports a lot, and you have the sports shows like hockey does this, football does this. We have retired athletes on like a panel to like talk about the games that have happened that day or weekend, and they'll show, like one of the ex, one of the recently retired players. They'll show the team that he was on for like 10 years before he retires, so he knows like half the guys on the team. And they show, like a win that team had at like the last second, and then of course that, retired athlete is going to do the whole like let's go, like around the studio live on TV, and everyone's laughing and having a good time. So like that type of intensity is what I'm picturing these guys doing. Like they're getting up and they're flexing and they're like spitting because they're yelling so hard.
Yeah, you nailed it. You got it. You know what?
Yeah.
You don't need to watch any more Love Is Blind. You've basically got it. The show holds no surprises for you anymore, Ryan. You've now mastered Love Is Blind. Maybe this is another thing that will never get brought up on the podcast again. We'll see. But
It's okay. It's okay if it does.
But moving on swiftly to the main topic of the day. Today, we are here to discuss, let me just enlarge that poster a wee bit more. We are here to discuss the 2021 movie directed by David Lowery, starring Dev Patel. That's who I was thinking of. I don't know why I couldn't come up with Dev Patel. Starring Dev Patel, called The Green Knight. The Green Knight is a retelling of the Arthurian legend of Sir Gawain. And this was a movie I had wanted you to watch for quite some time because I had seen it and thought it was fun.
Okay.
You brought up a comment last time, and I was like, I have a connection. And because of that, I then made you watch the whole movie.
Okay.
Ryan, have you heard of Green Knight before this at all?
No.
No?
I've never heard of Green Knight before.
Do you know, like, the Arthurian legend of Sir Gawain? Did you know that before coming into here?
No.
No?
Nope.
Have you seen Spamalot? Or Monty Python Curse the Holy Grail, or Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen that movie tons of times.
Perfect. That's, you know what? We're halfway there then. Then your
Okay.
Arthurian legend knowledge is perfect. No notes.
Okay.
So what did you think of it? Just let's get some raw impressions first.
Okay. Honestly, I liked it. This is going to make me want to like read the poem that I did some research after I was like, okay, what is this? This has made me want to research the source material.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch it again after I've gone through the source material.
Yeah.
I loved the themes that I think I saw play throughout this.
Yeah.
And at first, my first initial reaction to this movie, probably about the first 30 minutes, was like, oh, okay. Okay, so this is definitely fantasy. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this plays out. And it really surprised me with how much it drew me in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it like, small summary is, I quite enjoyed it.
Good. That's awesome. You know what? That's basically me too. I watched it a while ago. Remember really enjoying it. It sucked me in. I watched it a second time and expected it to not hold up as well as it did in my memory, like several things I've had us watch recently. And
Yeah.
it took me in. I was like, well, I've seen it before. I'll have it on in the background as something, and I ended up just sitting and watching it again in full. So, for those of you who haven't seen this movie, really the whole conceit of it is that Sir Gawain is not yet a full knight. If you want, we can talk about some of the differences between the poem and the movie that we see here. But Sir Gawain, not quite a full-fledged knight yet, but is the son of one of King Arthur's sisters. Who that is left intentionally vague in the movie. We have one of two options. But he's son of one of King Arthur's sisters. He goes to a Christmas Eve or Christmas Day meal at the court of King Arthur. He is told that he is sitting among legends, and who but the Green Knight shows up. And the Green Knight offers a challenge. He says, whoever is brave enough and wants to play my Christmas game with me, go ahead and deal me a blow in combat, and in 1 year's time, I will deal the same blow back. So, Sir Gawain decides to cut the Green Knight's head off. My guess is presumably thinking that, great, he has no chance to retaliate, I've killed him, I've bested him in his own game. The Green Knight then picks up his head and rides off and says, I'll see you in a year. And I like that it's not hidden what his fate is going to be, or is not hidden what his supposed fate's going to be. Like, that in about a year's time, he's meant to get his head cut off as well. And the whole movie is both whether or not he decides to do that and then his journey along the way. And it does along the way, that journey does something I really enjoy Arthurian tales to do. And it pits Gawain up against several moral challenges, all of which are tied back to the virtues of being a knight. And I really enjoyed a lot of that. Was that your same understanding? Are you there, Ryan? Oh, I think I lost Ryan, but he is coming back soon. In the meantime, while Ryan is coming back, one of the things I did want to bring up is specifically the fun thing that I had found on IMDb. So, is this something I can do? Anyway, let me get Ryan's video back up. Anyway, one of the things I found on IMDb that I thought was particularly fun is not only do we have the writer here, or writer-director David Lowery, who, I'm going to save this fact for when Ryan's around because then he'll like it, but if you look on IMDb, the writers for this are both David Lowery, and he cites the Gawain poet, which I actually really, really appreciate. I thought it was a really good nod. Just make sure, see, try to get Ryan back here. Anyway, while Ryan is working on coming back, there are a couple of kind of interesting facts that I had found out specifically about in the movie. Now, one of the first characters that we see on the screen along with Gawain is we see somebody named Essel, who appears to be, I guess, his girlfriend, or kind of consort of sorts. The thing that I like about her is she's depicted both with bells and with short hair. Both with bells and with short hair, and it turns out both of those things are both indicators of her being a prostitute. Bells were originally meant to act as kind of a shame symbol, I guess, for prostitutes. And then her shortened hair was something that they had done in Victorian England to specifically shame prostitutes for their job. I don't know. Either way, the fact that they gave her both bells on herself and the short hair itself was meant to be indicative of her profession. And then the fact that she ended up giving one of those bells to Gawain was just a very cute gesture and was also kind of meant to signify that like it's advanced beyond just the prostitution relationship, which is assumingly how it starts. You don't really get to see that in the movie too much, but it certainly seems like that's how it starts. The other thing that's interesting, and I had mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that they had originally, I mean, and you hear this a couple of times, they say that Dev Patel, or in this case Sir Gawain, is King Arthur's nephew, and they leave the mother's name intentionally unsaid. In fact, one of the things I thought was one of the most interesting things about this is that King Arthur is in this movie, and so is Lady Guinevere. But at no point do you ever hear their name. They're never said, they're just very much implied. And I think that was a really cool choice. But the other thing I really liked about it was they don't tell you the name of Gawain's sister, or Gawain's mom, Arthur's sister. Now, Gawain's mom and Arthur's sister could be one of two people. The first one is King Arthur's, I think it's stepsister or half-sister. Her name is like Maruga or something similar to that. And she's just kind of a person related to King Arthur. Relatively, I'm sure there are stories about her, but not as famous as the other sister. The other sister is Morgana, the one that is kind of famous for doing all of black magic in the Arthurian tales. And depending on what version of the story you're watching, or you're reading, or you're exposed to, Gawain is either Morgana's son or not. And I don't know the answer to that, and I don't actually know where the movie sits on it. And that's the thing I think I find particularly interesting, because you see Gawain's mother in the very beginning performing some kind of magic ritual. But throughout the movie you also see other people doing magic as well. So magic is relatively commonplace in this place, or in this world. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Morgana that the magic is happening. Now, the thing I thought was very cool is at one point he goes to this castle, and in the castle you get a man, you get a woman, there's kind of a love triangle there, you get the like cool unexposed upside down photograph of him as a knight, which I think is also very cool. But also in it there is a woman with cloth over her eyes that essentially just kind of stares, or is kind of hanging around. In the original Arthurian legend, that woman is Morgana. So she's kind of aware of the transgression that happens at the castle with Dev Patel, or with Sir Gawain, essentially cheating on, or being a paramour to, the lady of the manor, or lady of the castle. She bears witness to that in the original tale. So it's cool that there are two people that are left intentionally vague. I mean, obviously, you're going to know King Arthur when you see him, right? They don't say his name, but he might be the most King Arthur that ever King Arthured. The thing I do appreciate about it is they show him aged. So, I mean, obviously, in this, you can see from the poster there, Sir Gawain is probably, I'm going to say, early 20s in this. So he is, a young strapping man of adventuring age. And at that point, Arthur has been king for quite some time. The kingdom of Avalon is relatively secure. He is aging into his role. And that's why a lot of this is undertaken by Sir Gawain. One sec to see how rides him. But even though it is an aged Arthur, you can still kind of tell it's him, which I actually really appreciate. And they're those people. They literally don't need an introduction, and it's just those very cool things where people say, oh, they don't need an introduction, and they just genuinely don't need an introduction in this case. So I thought that part was particularly neat. Now, one of the things I did want to mention was a couple behind-the-scenes facts. These are things that I don't think that Ryan's going to be particularly interested in, but I know that when I was doing my research for it, I thought it was pretty cool, and specifically like to call out. The first one was the casting of Dev Patel in general, and let me find it quickly, because Dev Patel doesn't traditionally look like what you would think of when you think of an Arthurian legend, specifically how Sir Gawain himself has been depicted. But I think that he does a really great job of portraying that role. And he had really, Dave Lowery, the director, had no intention of casting Dev Patel. The part wasn't written for him, the part wasn't, you know, specifically made for him. What actually got him the role was Dev Patel was modeling for Zenga fashion spread, and in it, the director Dave Lowery saw that he looked relatively regal, or looked very regal, and was so impressed that he essentially got the part, even though he doesn't traditionally look the way that you would expect Sir Gawain to look. And honestly, I don't think that matters. I think that he does an incredible job with the role of itself. I think that he does a good job of, at the very beginning, looking like a young upstart, looking like he's unkempt, doesn't quite have his shit together. But then, as you can see in the poster, and then even towards the end of the film, when he does actually, in a way, become king, you can certainly see him change, and you can see the regalness be put upon him. And I really, really like that. I thought that was particularly cool. Now, something I think Ryan may appreciate, but it looks like he's still having trouble coming on or getting onto the call at this moment, is the setting, and specifically the year that this takes place. Now, the Arthurian legends are generally set around 5th or 6th century CE, but the date is specifically not mentioned. And one of the things that is I thought was interesting, and I didn't know this, and I actually don't know what parts of it are shown, but I think it's interesting, is that the technology in it appears quite more advanced, or quite a lot more advanced than 4 or 5 CE. In fact, apparently the technology in it is more around like the 14th or 15th century. Which means that the setting's a little bit nebulous. It doesn't take place maybe when the typical Arthurian legends would have taken place, but hey, I think that's fine. I think it's pretty interesting. I don't think that it got in the way of anything. I don't think I felt like I was, nothing really took me out. I mean, it's not like they like picked up a telephone in the middle of the movie or anything like that. I'm sure it must be some of the woodworking on the castle, or some of the mechanics around the drawbridges that we see. It must be some of the ironwork around the shields and around some of the costumes. It's got to be something like that, because I can't think of many other uses of technology in the movie, if I'm being honest. But I thought that was incredibly interesting, and something that I am going to watch the movie again. Something on the third walkthrough, or third watch through, I do want to kind of watch out for, because I think that's going to be pretty cool. Man, I really wanted to wait for Ryan to tell him this, but I think it's just us, and I think it's worthwhile. There was a pretty major source of inspiration for this movie, both in David Lowery wanting to do it, and also in a couple of shots. Specifically, this was referencing the film Willow. I haven't seen Willow in years and years and years, so the visual references to Willow weren't something that I immediately picked up on, but apparently David Lowery had got the idea for this movie in general. And I wonder what David Lowery does in his free time, because according to IMDb, he got inspiration to do this in general when setting up a diorama from the movie Willow in his backyard. Which, like, what an incredibly cool hobby. I mean, actually I think I own a book where it's people taking action figures and posing them in cool ways, with cool, like, in cool spaces, with interesting sound effects and visual effects going on around, and it might be something very much like that. But that's where he got the idea to shoot an Arthurian legend, or specifically this Arthurian legend. And then there's a couple of visual references scattered throughout the movie specifically to Willow. One of the big ones specifically is that hanging cage. So there's a scene where Gawain comes upon a crossroad and a skeleton is in a hanging cage. And apparently that's very similar to Willow when Val Kilmer is briefly caged. It's apparently very close in style and very close in how it looks. which again is something I don't remember. I think I remember Val Kilmer in a cage. I just don't think I remember that scene particularly, but it's been like forever. Um, so I thought that was a particularly cool connection, especially if you were a Willow fan like I was. I remember being a pretty big Willow fan, but apparently not enough to watch it enough. Um, some of the things that I thought were particularly interesting too, in terms of the movie itself, um, I think that I like the pacing of the movie quite a lot, and I had mentioned earlier about Arthurian legends and how I think these might just be comforting to me. I like the pace of them, and I like what they kind of stand for. So, to give you a sense of what happens in the movie, that Christmas challenge that I had mentioned is kind of set forth or brought forth by the Green Knight. That happens. And then what happens from there on out is essentially Sir Gawain has to go into the woods to the Green Temple where the Green Knight lives the next year at Christmas and receive the blow that he had dealt in return. And the thing that I think is particularly interesting is that it is a choice, right? He has a choice to go out and go actively receive that blow. He could choose to stay home. He could choose to, take the coward's way out. And you see him struggle with that throughout the entire film. And the thing that I thought was a really smart change to the movie from the original tale is that in this, he's not a knight. He's a knight to be. And he's in training for it. But in the original one, he is in fact a knight. But the reason I think it's a really smart change is because everything that he does during his quest is one of the knightly virtues from our Arthurian legends. So each kind of person he encounters or situation that happens to him on the road. So in Arthurian legend, they traditionally valued friendship, generosity, chastity, courtesy, and piety. Those were the kind of main virtues. And each interaction that he has ends up testing one of those virtues in some way, shape, or form. And the thing I think is pretty cool about this is that he actually fails every single one of them. And it's a very interesting thing to watch this kind of very flawed hero who does very much struggle with being a knight, where knighthood doesn't just fall on his shoulders very easily. The virtues of being a knight don't come easily. So, I mean, the first one you see is his generosity, right? He comes upon a beggar on a battlefield, and the beggar gives him directions to where he believes the Green Temple is that he has to go to find the Green Knight. And the beggar asks for a little bit of money, and he gives him just the smallest amount. He essentially failed the generosity test, and there are consequences to that, and there are in the movie. He gets tied up. He gets his sash stolen that his mother had made for him to help protect him. He fails that. So it's particularly interesting that throughout the entire movie, he doesn't show that he's really even ready to be a knight, even though that's kind of the driving force, the driving factor behind everything that he's specifically doing. The other thing I thought was particularly interesting was, I guess some of the different situations that he gets sent in all have this very kind of supernatural lean to them. And I thought that was very cool and very interesting. Now, I think the beggar one that I had mentioned was probably the most straightforward and least supernatural of them all. But I think that specifically the one with the lady, he comes across a house, essentially, and it appears abandoned. He's quite tired and wants to sleep. So he goes into this house and he finds a woman in there. And that woman asks him to do a favor for her because he goes to lay in this bed and she's actually already in there. He didn't know that. The lady asks her to do a favor for him. You find out this lady's dead. And what he wants her to do, or what she wants him to do, is go find her head. And I just think that's such a cool, interesting thing. The head's, at the very bottom of a spring. In the original Arthurian legend, this is a little bit different. There's a whole backstory to this woman and why her head is there, and that the spring came up around the head and not the other way around. It wasn't thrown to the bottom of it. It came up around the head itself, but he has to go and retrieve her head for her. And it's just one of those where it helps to add another really interesting tone and another interesting visual flair to the movie, where you almost get this like very haunted house feeling for quite some time. And I find that particularly not jarring but different, right? It does a good job of making his next step in the journey feel different. Because I find sometimes in fantasy, specifically, things get really Lord of the Ringsy, especially if you have like a knight that's about to go on a quest, and that quest involves traveling through, what is ostensibly New Zealand. In this case, it was Ireland. Still, beautiful greenery, beautiful scenery, mountains, trees, you know, babbling brooks, all of those great things. It sometimes feels a little Lord of the Ringsy, and that does start to wear on me, but this does a good job of making each and every one of his tests and each and every one of his situations that he runs into visually arresting and different enough that it really holds your attention. You don't feel like, okay, he's in another town, and alright, I've seen some Lord of the Rings. It remains interesting. That one in particular, when he runs into giants, which I forgot were an Arthurian legend until this time watching it. Very cool, very visually arresting depiction of giants as well. I thought it was really, really cool. So it looks like we may not get Ryan back, which is okay. Because one second. Anyway, it is looking we're going to get Ryan back, so I want to talk about one of my most interesting parts of the movie, and to be fair, it's a part that I didn't know was, I mean, I guess I knew it was ambiguous, but I guess I didn't. So, the way that the movie ends up playing out is Gawain does go to the Green Knight in the end. He puts his neck out in order to get his head cut off. Ooh. One second. Anyway, so he does end up going to the Green Knight. He puts his neck out in order to receive the blow that he was going to receive, and he gets really scared, which, rightly so. He asks the question, is this it? Was this all? And the knight just essentially says, yes, what more is there? This was the game. The game was you gave me a cut, I give you the same cut. Are you ready? And he flinches, and he continues to flinch, and you can tell the Green Knight's a little bit annoyed. He's like, I didn't flinch when you gave me my blow. You don't flinch with this. And what you end up seeing is you see Sir Gawain run away. You see him go back to Camelot. You see him become king. You see him become knighted. He ostensibly lied about what happened there. And you see him kind of get everything that he wants, and then you watch that dream sour. He becomes king, but he gets overthrown. And what you end up seeing, and this is one of the things that I had thought was cool for Ryan, is he had talked last week about a horror story that he read when he was a little kid about a lady who took a green scarf off of her neck and her head fell off. You see that in this. Sir Gawain wears a green sash around his waist. He removes it and his head falls off. And that's one of the things that kind of tied me to Ryan in this, but I thought was particularly interesting as you watch that happen. You watch him do that as he's about to be deposed as king. The movie then flashes back to when he has his neck in front of Sir Gawain, and he takes off his green sash and he goes, I'm ready, and doesn't flinch, has his head down. And the Green Knight, you can see, draws kind of a line around his neck like this, and then he says, Okay, then off with your head. And then the movie cuts, and that's where the movie ends. And I think it's particularly interesting. The ending and the actual fate of Sir Gawain is a matter of debate even between the cast and the director. So in the original Arthurian legend, Sir Gawain survives. He's let go by the Green Knight. I think something like when the Green Knight did this gesture on him, that was the blow that he was giving him. It was something about it being the same blow but not the same intensity, something like that in the original. And Sir Gawain survives, and he becomes a knight of legend, right? Having learned from these ordeals. And apparently, the knight's words at the end, "Okay, little knight, off with your head," can be interpreted in two different ways as well. They can be interpreted as, "Off with your head, it's gone," or "Off with your head," like leave with your head. Those are two different interpretations of the same sentence, and if director and actor disagree, I think both are equally valid. And I want to have a little bit of a talk about this. I think Ryan and I are talking about doing exactly this in the future here. But I think what we're going to do is I want to get his take on this. I think that, for me, I like the character enough that I want him to survive. That's my, goal, or my, hope for him. But, it might not be the case, and I think that in terms of it being a satisfying story, I think that it's more satisfying that he learns those lessons and doesn't die in the end. I think it's a more satisfying tale for me. But I also do kind of like the idea of the Green Knight is this eternal thing. It's like an animal in the forest, right? Where killing doesn't mean the same thing to it as it does us. It was playing a game, and this is the conclusion of the game. And Gawain chose to play the game in that specific way, and that's just how that goes. So, yeah, I think we might not get Ryan for this last part of the podcast, and that's okay, because I think that what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time next week talking about this at the very beginning of next week. We won't spend the whole time, but I would like to get Ryan's take on a couple of things here, especially because I found out that he did like it. But if you stuck around with me this long, listen. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're incredible. I hope you learned something. If you ever have interest in The Green Knight, just let me know. I think that it is an incredible movie. Feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at any of these fine places just above me, so you have to watch this pod on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitch if you want. You can write us messages on Twitch if you'd like. I also quite like that. You can catch us on Instagram. We are You Have to Watch This Podcast. And in Facebook, we are YHTWT Podcast. You Have to Watch This Podcast. Reach out. I love fan interaction. I love talking to people about movies. This is kind of one of my favorite things to do. It's why I do the podcast in general. So if you have thoughts, opinions, feelings on The Green Knight, would love to share them. I would love to hear them. Otherwise, tune in same time next week. There might be 2 of us. There might be 3 of us. There might even just be 1 of us again. It might just be me talking again. But let me know.